At Blossom Barn Cidery, our tasting room feels like you're visiting your friend's family farm, but it hasn't always felt that way. When we moved to the farm in 2020, it was a 2-car garage and a solar array, no room to park, and we had to do a lot of work to get even started. We started replacing a lot of fences, over 1,000 feet of new fences in order to make room for a little bit of parking. We took down the solar panels. The footings for these solar panels was so massive that after we took them out, we actually used them to make a bridge across the seasonal ditch. After taking down those solar panels, we had to move our compost piles away. So we had to load up all of the sheep manure and various other organic materials that we compost, load it on a trailer and haul it to a new spot about 100 yards away so that it would be out of the way of the tasting room, and also not have a big pile of compost right next to the tasting room. Within the footprint of the new construction, there were a number of electrical conduit lines that came out of the side of the existing garage, and those would be right in the way of the excavation. We had to reroute those out of the front in order to provide power to the well, the granary, the barn, and a number of other outside buildings. We also had to drill a new well and run new water and electric lines to that well through the garden. Before we even got the permit to start, we had to pave an apron of our driveway, and we had to upgrade our transformer. We also had to install a new septic system, so new leach line and new tanks for the building. So besides all that additional work, we started construction by excavating down. You can see the big pile of excavate there. We poured a initial foundation, then formed the stem wall that would actually support all the walls. After the stem wall was poured, we ran a lot of our initial plumbing through that space and then compacted gravel. So you can see there's some plumbing lines that are run, and then poured the slab foundation that was going to be our concrete floors. Then the framing all started, so then we started getting walls springing to life and the space started to take shape. After the outside sheeting started to go on, the building had enough stability to start supporting the trusses. Trusses got delivered, and then they went up and got installed. And these are attic trusses that had a space in the middle so that we could have a second story down the middle of those attic trusses. Then the subfloor went in that space, and the sheeting continued on the outside of the building, and it really started to feel like something. You could see where the windows were going to go, where the doors were going to go, how big the space was going to be. And the upstairs, you could start to feel how that space was going to be. The sheep never really seemed to mind. And at this point, we really started to see what the view was going to be like out of the tasting room windows and what it was going to be like to welcome people into the cidery. As the sheeting continued and the roof fascia went on, the space started to feel more closed in, and the house wrap started to go on in preparation for the stucco work. The metal roof went on the building. We really wanted to have a metal roof for longevity to match the existing metal roof that was on the garage that we didn't change out. And also for fire. We decided we really wanted to use stucco as well. And so the building got stuccoed. The patio stem wall went in as the stucco was going in, and that whole patio space started to take shape. In order to keep the stucco from cracking, since it was pretty warm while it was going on, I was watering down the stucco a couple of times a day just to keep that stucco drying slowly and not cracking. We started construction on the retaining wall around the patio, so the stem wall was being poured as the stucco was drying, and then the beautiful Blossom Barn blue final coat of stucco was going on, And you can see that the solar panels that we had taken down were reinstalled on the roof, and the commercial kitchen space inside the original garage, we raised the ceiling in order to have that space not quite so low. All new sheetrock. This space currently has a walk-in and some stainless steel countertops. And then the tasting room itself, we started to work on finishing the concrete floors with a stain and wax, and then we put in our bar space as well. Charlie, a local carpenter and cabinet maker, did a beautiful job on the bar. We had Justin come in and put tile in the bathroom, and you can see the patio and the board form wall around the patio went in. And at that point, we could start moving our tanks into our production space and unpacking the glycol chiller that would be installed outside that will provide the ability for us to chill our cider in order to control fermentation, as well as to carbonate the cider, get it nice and cold so that we can carbonate it in our bright tank. And it was necessary to have all this fermentation equipment in place so that we could be ready to get our license to operate, because as a producer, we needed to have our tanks and other equipment in place so that we could open. And we were scrambling to make that happen so that we'd be open for the fall. So with a final push to remove the last of the excavate, bring in some gravel, do some planting work and rock work, we were able to open for our neighbors on Halloween weekend 2022. And then starting in the spring of 2023, we are opened for business, and we have people coming in and to enjoy the cidery and enjoy the ciders in the peaceful spot we're in.